Hello, everyone. Welcome to Donna's Happy Hour. Today, I have Mike Daly and the Planets. They are based out of New Jersey. They're a rock and roll band. I met them at the Way Way Yonder Music Festival back in September, and I have to tell you, you're gonna love their sound. I guess their influence, if you want to say, is the Beatles, Elvis Costello. I don't know, I heard myself, it sounded like a little bit of a David Bowie sound. They go from rock and roll to very nice, I don't want per se ballads, but anyway, I think you're going to enjoy them. So grab your drinks, whatever they may be, because I'm hoping you'll spend the next hour with me.
So this is a song, a really new one. We've only played this one a couple of times also, and it's about pondering one's own mortality, seeing a lot of people that we've followed in the music industry pass away, like Neil Peart, drummer of Rush, and Tom Petty, and Prince, and on and on and on. Far too young, and also some personal experiences that have made it seem like time is slipping away. So this song is called This Is My Life. All of my heroes are fading away, and I've seen too many friends reach the end of their days. Lately time has been traveling a little too fast. I guess this is my life now, I hope that it lasts. My long ago places have all disappeared. The people I met there are no longer here. And my most beloved memories are fragile like glass. I guess this is my life now, I hope that it lasts. There were times when I used to feel cursed, but I've learned things can always be worse. And I know this is just how it goes. I'm still making plans, but it's out of my hands. If you have to have cancer, I got the right kind. But it weakened my body and fucked with my mind. Made me fear for my future and dwell on my past. I guess this is my life now, I hope that it lasts. I've still got something to say. I've got miles to travel and music to play, but there's no way of knowing what will come to pass. I guess this is my life now, I hope that it lasts. Well, it seems like our time here has come to an end. Thank you for coming, you're the best of my friends. Before saying goodnight, let's all raise a glass. And say, this is my life now, I hope that it lasts. Yeah, this is my life now, I hope that it lasts. This song is about the art of doing nothing. It's called Slack. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I used to practice Taekwondo, but now I Taekwondo. Yes, you could say I used to have the will, but now I have the won't. I just want to stay inside all day, comfy in my jammies, polishing my Grammys that I'll never win. And later on I'll order it. I got a knack for Slack. I used to have ambition, hope I never get it back. 'Cause I'd really rather have a snack. More than anything I wanna Slack. You know, I used to wanna PNC, but now I'm X and Y. Why does 6 hate 7 so much? 'Cause 7 ain't 9. I just wanna spend each streaming hour here in my cabana, singing with Susanna, my eternal flame. Oh, Susanna, do you feel the same? I got a knack for Slack. I used to have ambition, hope I never get it back. 'Cause I'd really rather have a snack. More than anything, please don't judge me or begrudge me, 'cause I used to run your race, but now I need a different pace. Chocolate pudding by the cake. Like that! I just wanna lounge around all day, comfy in my jammies, hanging with my Grammy. She's so freaking cool, sipping margaritas by the pool. I got a knack for Slack. I used to have ambition, hope I never get it back. 'Cause I'd really rather have a snack. But more than anything, I got a knack for Slack. I used to have ambition, hope I never get it back. I'm as serious as a heart attack. Eventually we fade to black. And I need you people off my back. And I'd rather do a shot of that. More than anything, I wanna Slack.
Today I have Mike Daly and the Planets with me. They are a rock band, and I met them at the Way Way Yonda Music Festival in September, and I have been very excited about having you on. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good to be here.
Now, I just have to tell you that I was fortunate enough to get one of their albums, which I will pull out for you. There we go. That is it, Mike Daly and the Planets. And when was this album produced?
It was released last March.
It was released last March, okay. And the songs that you hear today are all original songs. Now, who's the writer, or do you all collaborate?
I'm the primary songwriter.
You're the primary, okay.
Jim Smith, our drummer here, co-wrote a song with me for this album. It was the first time that he co-wrote it. And we've written together in the past, but we just haven't. More recent songs have been pretty much all me.
And which song was that you collaborated on?
Any Given Night.
Oh, okay. Any Given Now. I don't think you sang that one today,
Yes,
did you? Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have to tell you, I was listening to your songs, and one of the things that really interested me was that you go from like rock and roll, and then you have, let's say, something like Never Too Late, and then you'll go to, what was it, Slack, to Slack, which is such a huge contrast, you know, and I really like that. But the other song that I found very interesting was Stupid Me, which I don't think you did today.
No, that we didn't do.
That you didn't do. And so I know you're going to love their music and their sound. The other thing that I have to ask, you know, I always find it interesting to see what sort of music drove you. But one of the things, and I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, you have a very David Bowie in the sense of the way you articulate some of the inflections in your songs. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned that.
We get a lot of Elvis Costello.
Oh, okay.
In terms of my singing voice and the inflections of my singing voice, we get a lot of that.
A lot of that.
Pat Denisio of the Smithereens.
Okay.
Because I'm a baritone. Elvis Costello is also a baritone. Pat is a baritone.
Right.
So we get a lot of comparisons like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Never Bowie.
Never Bowie.
Never Bowie, really?
You're the first.
Oh, wow.
We'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm saying, okay, what was their influence? So, who was or is there nobody that was, let's say, your influence in the sound that you're getting with all of?
Well, we start off with the Beatles. Obviously, that's one thing we all have in common.
Okay.
And bands like the Beatles, Cheap Trick, and Badfinger, bands like that.
Okay.
70s New York punk. There's a little influence in that. The Ramones and bands like that. Newer bands, John. Can you think of any newer bands you think might?
I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff from the '90s when we were sort of forging our first band. We'll probably talk about that later.
Yeah.
Bands like the Lemonheads and Bob Mould,
Right.
Sugar, stuff like that. Sort of the post-grunge pop sound that sort of was happening in the late '90s, alternative pop.
Okay.
It
And
informs a lot of what we do.
when were most of these written? Just out of
The
curiosity.
vast majority of those were written in, I would say, 2016, 2017.
Okay, alrighty.
A couple that go back, way back to a previous band that we were in that in the later part, a lot of our stuff didn't get recorded, and we ended up picking this stuff up from that. There's a lot of certain places where, you know, you play a half an hour like we did here today, or you play 45 minutes, and then somebody says, we need 2 sets of an hour.
Right.
And, you know, so then we have to dig back into the repertoire.
into the, yeah.
And then, you know, you're going to record, and you decide you're going to record an album, so you can't really have fewer than 10 songs on an album. So we have to try and mine as much material from all different phases.
All different phases.
Right.
Interesting. And so when you go out and you play, do you run into the same problem where most of the venues want you to play cover songs?
We avoid that studiously.
Really? Yeah.
We've done that, and we can still do that. And, you know, matter of fact, John and I and Jim are involved in a charity show that we do every year. That's a fundraiser, and it's all requests. The audience purchases requests, and it's classic rock night.
Okay, all right.
And, you know, that's really the only time that we do that. We only play in clubs that cater to original music, and
Oh, that's,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
wow,
And
okay.
there are fewer and fewer of them
Well,
every
that's
day, but
right.
but we do, you know, we try and keep abreast of all the ones that are still open and which new ones are opening.
Right, right. That's the interesting thing. When I talk to the bands, I find that there are fewer and fewer places. Number one, fewer. Although I take that on one hand, there's fewer and fewer places that want original music, but on the other hand, I see that for a while there, it must have been hard getting gigs at clubs.
Oh yeah.
And now it's starting to come back from what I can see, that there are more places hiring bands again.
Right.
And maybe I think that might have had to do with a couple of things. Number, DWIs. Remember when they were really cracking down on the clubs? Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to go to clubs anymore. Number two, you had the DJs coming in, mm-hmm. and three, karaoke,
right?
You know, as well, which I'm sure affected a lot of bands. You know,
anything that will cause an uptick in liquor sales, most establishments will try. But there are places that most of the original music places that we have played came not from the vision of having a bar and then let's try some music. They came from a position of let's start a rock club.
Oh, interesting.
And, because there are fewer and fewer of them.
Right.
And we've just had 3 or 4 close within the last month or two.
Oh, really?
Places that we played fairly recently.
Wow. Now, I do want to say that you are based out of New Jersey, pretty much, right?
Right.
Okay. And one of the things I want to ask, so what's the largest venue that you've played? Like, is there?
Newton Theater.
Yeah, we played the Newton Theater.
But it was we didn't headline the Newton Theater or anything like that. It was like a talent show or something.
Yeah,
okay.
Augusta has talent, or what was it called? Skylands have talent. Yeah, we played there. We for a chance to open another show, and we didn't come in first, but they kind of
came in fourth.
We came in fourth.
No shame in fourth.
No shame.
No, there's no.
Everybody got to do one song, and it was judged by some local people involved with the theater.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow.
That's probably the biggest place we played. Before John was in the band, we played at Maxwell's in Hoboken, which is no longer.
Maxwell's. That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, was a legendary.
Wow.
A New York magazine described Maxwell's as the best New York club.
Oh, wow. New Jersey. Oh, my gosh. So, wow.
At one time, it was it's long since gone by the wayside. It's going to be something else.
This one is called Come Along. 2, 3. Refugee from CBGB and OMF Eugene, a living, breathing punk rock fantasy. I could feel a tingling inside of me, telling me I should either fight or free. I must admit, I thought you'd be the end of me. When I asked if you were single, you said maybe. When I asked where you were going, you said crazy. Wanna come along? Come along, come along. Do you wanna come along? Come along, come along. Do you wanna come along? When you said that I should walk you home, I couldn't leave well enough alone. Looking back, I should have known. When you smiled, it was all for show. When you grabbed me and wouldn't let go, I was headed for an all-time low. When I woke up in the morning, things were hazy. come along? Come along, come along. Do you wanna come along? Come along, come along. Do you wanna come along? I was looking for excitement, and you dealt it out in spades. You were just so bold and vibrant, and the worst mistake I ever made. Look out! While I had a bottle in front of me. I'm not the same as I was back then. My hindsight is now 2010. I know I won't look down that road again. If you had your way, I might be pushing daisies, but at least I've learned to recognize the crazy when it comes along. Come along, come along. Do you want to come along? Come along, come along. Do you want to come along? Come along, come along. Do you want to come along? Come along, come along. Do you want to come along?
Well, I didn't know the plan.
That's the plan. This was called Any Given Night. Last night was my last night with Sarah Jane. She said, boy, you never age, you always look the same. Saw the fire in her eyes, probably should have realized last night would be my last night with Sarah Jane. Last night I woke up from a fever dream. I was a match and she was gasoline. Trapped inside a raging fire, no escape as the blaze grew higher. Last night I woke up from a fever dream. I knew any given night might be her last. She always burned too bright and lit too fast. Still I fought my way through the flame that erupted from the mention of her name, Sarah Jane. Today I got the call I always feared, and felt a burning anger in my tears. A dream deferred, a dream denied, a fire forever trapped inside. Today I got the call I always feared. Tomorrow I will drive around for hours, try to find a field of her favorite flowers, lay them on her resting place, pray she's in a better place. Tomorrow I will drive around for hours. I knew any given night might be her last. She always burned follow me into the fire. Finally, I did deny her. The flame has come to face a different dream. I knew any given night might be her last. She always burned too bright and lived too fast. Still I fought my way through the flame that erupted at the mention of her name. Sarah Jane.
Now, let me ask you this. You said something about growing up near Hawthorne and Passaic.
Right.
Do you remember, was it the, I think it was the Passaic, was it a Passaic Theater or Capitol Theater?
Capitol Theater.
Capitol
Passaic.
Theater. Do you remember that?
It was the best.
Yeah,
I saw my first concert there.
Oh, did you really? Who was it?
It was the Tubes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smitty and I are big Tubes guys.
All right.
was
When
like
I was in high
1984 or
school,
something.
I had my more adventurous friends whose parents either were very liberal or just not paying attention
Okay.
that used to sleep out on the sidewalk because when when the tickets were going to go on sale for either something that was happening at the Capitol or one of the other venues that the promoter, John Scher,
Yes. Yep.
was the Meadowlands Arena, different places like that. That's where the tickets would go on sale that day, and people would actually camp out on Monroe Street in Passaic, which is
Wow.
which takes a tremendous amount of courage.
You better believe it.
Or just being oblivious to the possibility of what
Could have happened, right?
But
Wow.
yeah, I wasn't one of them who slept out and did it. I did have friends who did. So
Well, you're going to enjoy this. I actually worked at the Capitol Theater.
wow.
What'd you
I
do?
went when they started the Capitol Theater. John Scher started it, and had an ad in the paper. They were looking for a Girl Friday, somebody that would come in and do odds and ends if they needed errands run or if the band wanted beer or whatever it may be. And I actually got the job. So I had worked there for quite some time, running.
So who did you get beer for?
Actually, I didn't actually get beer for anybody. I didn't get any liquor for it. I thought for sure that would be part of my,
Did you get
But
to rub elbows with some,
I did. I actually, this is sad but true. In those days, we all liked to party. And so, of course, we had Alice Cooper come to the Capitol Theater.
Nice.
I slept pretty much through the
whole
whole concert. So, needless to say, you can only imagine how. But yeah,
It takes a lot of something to.
it does take a
sleep
lot of
through Alice
something.
Cooper.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Well,
Well, I'm lucky I didn't wake up with the snake wrapped around my neck or something. That's really what
When you're talking about camping out outside the Capitol Theater, if you're not familiar with the Capitol Theater, during the day it was an adult movie theater, and then at night they had concerts. So it was not a place that
No,
a teenage
no.
person of any gender would want to sleep
I didn't
outside.
know that.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that either, but I knew that the area was not that great.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but there were great concerts there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. And I actually haven't kept in touch with John. I have no idea what he's or
The John Scher?
Yeah, I read about
what
him
he's-
recently. Jay Lustig trying to get him into the New Jersey Hall of Fame or something like that.
Oh wow,
Jay
no
Lust-
kidding. Oh
Jay
really?
Lustig of NewJerseyArts.net. He's leading a campaign to try and get him into
Oh,
the New Jersey
interesting.
Hall of Fame. And he's still around.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, I haven't bumped into him, which I'm sure will happen at some point.
I went there as a critic and got to go backstage for a couple of the shows. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty heady stuff.
Yeah,
It's a little
yeah.
tiny place in the middle of Passaic.
Yes,
And
yeah.
then you came back out after and hoped that your car was still there.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, has that changed at all, the
Oh, no.
area?
Oh, no.
No.
Without the capital there, it's probably even worse.
Worse.
because,
Oh, that's too bad.
yeah,
That's a
there's
shame.
nothing to draw anybody from outside of Passaic.
Passaic, yeah. Well, I did want to, ask you also, what would you say the largest crowd that you've ever played to? Like how many people?
I would say Way Way Under was probably the largest crowd we played to, don't you think?
It's pretty big.
Okay.
That might count as the biggest venue we played at too. Now
Yeah,
that I'm thinking
now
about
that
it.
we
I
think
forgot
about it.
where we
Okay.
were.
Yeah.
That was really incredible, and I have to say that every single band, and I've said this before, was fantastic.
It was a fun day.
That was really a fun weekend,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping they're talking about doing it again.
Right.
So
Well, this one was thrown together pretty hastily.
it was
and
very quickly, but
So I would love to see what they'd be able to do if they actually were able to put a whole year.
they
more.
threw that together literally in like 2 to 3 months.
Right.
Which, you're right. I mean, if you really, because it could have been really something.
Right.
And I'm sure, live and learn.
It was something, but
It was something, right?
more.
It could be something more.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we loved it. We spent 2 days nonstop, as you know.
Right.
We were there from, 9 o'clock in the morning, Clay, till 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
Filming everything, everybody, everything, and but the music, there's 60 bands, and they had 3 stages set up.
Yeah.
It was really something, and then everything else in between. They had, they have skydivers, and they had
Yeah.
a petting
The
zoo.
Headless Horseman. Did you see the Headless
Yes,
Horseman?
yes, they had something for everyone,
Right.
and because they wanted it to be not only just for adults, and for people that enjoy music, but a family day, something that you could bring your children to,
Right.
and they accomplished that. They really did.
And they had lots of craft. We were just talking about craft brews before we were
Yes, they
filming.
did. Yes,
All the craft breweries from the area were there.
and the wineries
And
too.
a lot
Which
of them were there.
yes, yeah, that
Nice
was.
Yeah.
That was fantastic, and they had a lot of crafts people.
Right.
Yeah.
They also had, let's see, they had the breweries, the wineries, crafts. What else did they have? There was food. The food vendors were
Yeah.
fantastic.
Right.
So
Yeah, if they have some more time to put it together, I can only imagine it would be even more spectacular than it was. It's a great field, the venue, the venue's a great field, and everything was very professionally done. And
yes.
we'd love to see what they could do if they actually had the time to put something together.
Well, I'm sure that Don will probably put something together again, and again, it's something where you live and you learn. You learn what to do and the haves and the have-nots and
Right.
all of that. But overall, it was a fantastic weekend, and I suggest strongly that if anybody sees, and I don't know if he'll call it the same thing, or if it'll be held at the same place. I would think that he would, because it actually was a large enough area
Yeah.
to accommodate thousands of people.
Yeah, and then awareness is the biggest thing to overcome.
Right.
There was enough awareness that there was already a good crowd there, but you could really fill that field
Right.
with people if there's more awareness of,
Right.
of what's happening there.
And also the weather wasn't the best the first day.
Right.
Thank goodness the weather improved the second day.
This next one is what I envision as Lou Reed singing with the Rolling Stones. And it's a song about fidelity in a weird kind of way. So it's called Nonsense. I'm not looking for something different, for something better, as if it even exists. I'm not looking for greener pastures or youth recapture. What kind of nonsense is this? People running one to another, go undercover to rediscover the bliss. bagel bits and eat bananas, but that ain't Havana. What kind of nonsense is this? Ain't got no land, ain't got no cheddar, ain't any better. Could you find better than this? I guess you could if you want riches, but that ain't what riches. That doesn't nonsense is this. Baby, you and I make perfect sense when you weigh all of the circumstantial evidence in the present and the future tense. One and only, one and only, one and only, one and only So worry not about tomorrow, 'cause Cupid's arrow definitely didn't miss. I'm not looking for something different. That would be a grin. What kind of nonsense is this? 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 This is about the increasingly difficult world we live in, all the news coming in and making us depressed, and how it's very important to have some people in your life who make you feel like there's a reason to keep getting up every morning. This is called Salvation. In a world where seldom do we get to choose, and even when you win, you lose, I thank God for you. In a world where no one stands for what they say, and fear and anger rule the day, I thank God for you. You're my salvation. You're the one who healed me of my stagnation and changed my point of view. You're my foundation. I believe in something pure and true. I thank God for you. In a world where bullies plot their evil schemes, protected by computer screens, I thank God for you. In a world where kids live under microscopes, and many feel they've got no hope, I thank God for you. You're my salvation. You're the one who cured me of my stagnation and changed my point of view. You're my foundation. thank God for you. In a world where corporations kill the sea and threaten all humanity, I thank God for you. In a world where love is strong but so is hate, and at times it's hard to keep the faith, I thank God for you. I thank God for
I just want to kind of go back to you guys because, so when did you form? You said about 8 or 9 years ago, was
Yeah,
it?
this band started in about 2011.
Okay.
And we our first live performance was Pat Denizio, the singer of the Smithereens, used to throw a Memorial Day barbecue and
Okay.
invite their fans to come down, and $50 a head, all you could eat, all you could drink,
Oh, neat.
in his backyard.
Oh,
in
wow.
Scotch Plains, and I bugged him sufficiently to let us play. We hadn't played anywhere before,
Wow.
and but we've been in bands before. Pat was probably not familiar because Pat came up right before we were going to start and said, "Don't be scared.
Right.
Don't be scared."
Oh,
But we, that was our first gig, and that's with Jim, and I were all in the band at that time. John came in later
Came
on,
in a little later.
but
on.
John and all three of us had been playing in bands together in some incarnation since the '80s,
Wow.
I would say.
And now, did you go to school together?
Jim and I did,
You did, okay.
yes. We had a band called Every Damn Day that we performed a lot with the '90s, and in the '90s, and it was Jim and I who went to school together, and John and our drummer who went to school together. We had two sets of classmates that came together for
Okay.
the band. That band stayed together for about 15 years.
Wow.
And that band's music is available in all the places where you can get music.
Oh, fantastic. And do you have, like, if somebody wants to contact you, is there a email or how would
The
they
website,
get in touch?
I would go to MikeDaly.com, MikeDaly.com, and that'll bring you to a place where you can
Great.
hear our music and get in touch with
Right,
us.
and I know that you're on YouTube, so your music
Right.
is on. You can go and listen there as
Right.
well.
Mhm.
That's fantastic.
Spotify and Google Play Music, all the
Apple
streaming
Music.
service, Apple Music,
Amazon
most streaming
Music.
services have our stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah, all over the world. We found out we got a year-end report from Spotify about just our Spotify activity,
Right.
and we were listened to in 30 countries last year.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's
International tour?
fantastic.
International tour. Yes, for the 5 people who liked us in Norway, and the 6 in Finland, and we actually our biggest audience growth was in Spain last year. So the
Really?
Spanish tour might be something we could.
Oh, now have you guys done tours? Do you? Or,
Just locally.
Locally, okay.
We did with this band. We did a weekend tour of Southern Alabama. That we knew a guitar player down there who we wanted a gig with, so we booked a
Okay.
gig with him, and it was an adventure. To put it
to put it mildly.
and to put it in the most positive possible frame. But
Okay.
yeah, but we haven't really toured. No, that's building an audience here is the primary
Is the
goal.
primary
Yeah,
goal.
yeah.
And now, do you work full-time jobs as well?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yep.
And so how many, like, do you play every weekend?
No.
Okay.
Last year when we put the album out, our philosophy was we would play anywhere that we could. And there were times we played like 3 shows a month, 2 shows a month.
Okay.
And we're going to dial that back a little bit this year because try to take quality gigs over quantity gigs.
Okay.
And play to places where we know, number one, that our following will come and see us, and that we'll have a chance to be seen by some new audiences.
New audiences. Wow, that's smart. Yeah. I mean, you
It's
have
not
to.
easy.
No, it's not.
And social media opens you up to all this, a large number of people in an immediate way, but there's so much information coming out that like you don't even know who sees
Right.
what you're doing on Facebook or on Twitter when you're posting something, or and if you're judging by how many likes you get, it's
Right.
not that many.
Right. Right.
Sometimes you get a couple hundred, and sometimes you get 4 or 5, and you don't know what the rhyme or reason is behind that. So
Right.
It's a kind of a double-edged sword to have that. We used to just mail out postcards, and
Ah,
then we went to emails, and now we're doing the social media thing, and trying to find a formula that work that checks all the boxes.
and I'll tell you, it's a full-time job doing the social media. That in and of itself is a lot. So, I mean, if you're going to be doing Twitter and you're going to be doing Facebook and you're going to, oh my, yeah, it's a little bit
Very time consuming.
very time
Labor
consuming.
intensive.
Yeah. So let me also ask, when did you start playing guitar or writing? When did you?
Oh, I was in the 8th grade, and a friend of mine, Jimmy's cousin, by the way, his name is Scott, got a bass for his graduation present or something like that.
Oh wow.
And showed me a couple things, and I started learning
Okay.
then. And Jim and his cousin and I, we go back to like the late 70s, pretty much.
Wow.
Playing in bands together. Jim's been in every band that I've ever been in. Jim Van Sickle, our bass player, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
The Quiet Beatle.
The quiet.
We've been playing together. Every band that I've ever been in, every band that Jim's ever been in, I've been in.
You've been in. Wow. Wow. Has anybody here, like, did you start playing a musical instrument when you were like, very, very young?
I started playing guitar when I was like 11.
That's young. Okay.
I was
Yeah.
playing like, saxophone in the elementary school band or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
That
that's
counts, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Hot cross
actually.
buns.
Sure.
What about you, Jim?
Well, let me see. If you count pots and pans, probably about 9.
Right.
That's
That's
cute.
about when I started.
Is when you. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and he's been in drum and bugle corps. And
Okay,
he's got a
right.
pretty diverse background in terms of probably a more diverse
Yeah,
background
what's
than
the
any
name?
of us have.
Right. I always like to ask that because, one of the things that I do find is a lot of the answers are, I started when I was about 14 or 15. And,
Right.
but I always find it very interesting because of the fact that, like, you were in the bugle corps and the drum corps, you get I don't want to say maybe a better start because you learn how to read sheet music and you learn how to, do all of that, which,
Yeah, but then there
You
are
know.
those of us who like the Beatles are entirely learned by ear. and
Exactly,
write by ear.
exactly,
There's not-
right.
Not a lot of, I can read sheet music a little bit, but it's never been a goal of mine to,
Right.
I didn't really need it.
yeah, see, I
In
mean.
choir in high school, I needed it, but other than that, I didn't really need it.
It's very interesting because, as a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine. Her daughter taught herself how to read sheet music at the age of 4.
That's not normal.
No, and not only that, but she actually taught herself how to play the piano at the age of 4. And one day I called her up and I hear somebody, and they were using both hands on the piano playing a song from The Lion King.
Right.
And I'm thinking, oh, I know.
That's
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, and her
It's
writing.
not easy to read music. I don't know how you teach yourself to read music.
Well,
You need somebody to show you what the little dots mean.
I have to tell you. Well, let me just clarify that when she went into kindergarten, when they tested her, because what happened was is her kindergarten teacher called my girlfriend up and said, your daughter is teaching everyone in the class how to read. And she's like, does she really know how to read? And she's like, yeah, she does. Well, they tested her, and she was a 5th grade reading level in kindergarten.
Wow.
Yeah. So that might account for how she taught herself at 4 years old.
Right.
And I have to say, her writing, her music, her songs, to this day is just incredible. I would say that probably every single song she's ever written would be like a #1 hit.
Wow.
It's amazing, amazing work.
I learned how to read from the jukebox. My mother worked in restaurants when I was a kid, and I was fascinated with the jukebox.
Oh,
And so knowing what the songs were, and who
Okay.
the artists were, with all the little slips. that
right.
And and I had a sibling come. I was standing by the jukebox when I was 3.5, 4 years old.
Right.
I was standing and staring at the jukebox, and he came over and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to pick a song." Well, what does that say? This just says "Strangers in the Night" by Frank Sinatra. Or like he learned how to read from the jukebox.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting. See that?
Yeah, that was my.
That was your guy. That was
So
your
it took
teaching.
music for me to learn how to read it.
Well, hey, you know
but
what?
I can't read music.
But you can't read. Well, obviously it doesn't. As you said, it really isn't a make or break situation.
Right.
And that's one thing that you learn with many artists. Hey, how many people can pick up a paintbrush and just be able to paint?
Right.
It's a natural given gift.
Right.
You don't need somebody to necessarily teach you. It's there. And so I do want to say, I believe we're getting close to having to wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love for you to come back anytime you'd like to do another set here. I would love it. I want to thank all of you so much. It was a joy listening to you at Way Yonder. It was a joy today. And I wish you the best of luck this year. And don't be strangers.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you're
Thanks, Donna.
welcome. All right. Thank you.
All right, so this next song is brand new. It's probably the 2nd or 3rd time we've ever played it. 4th time we've ever played it, if you count the mistake we just made. It's about the dynamic of how the rules change when relationships begin and end, and it's called Falling Out of Love Song. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you said all good things must come to an end, but you still want to be friends, and you hope I don't take it badly. What you meant was I'll never see you again, something I just can't comprehend, 'cause you know that I love you madly. And you say it's nothing personal, but there's nothing more personal you can do than falling out of love with me before falling out of love with you. I could tell when you greeted me with a kiss that there was something amiss. I wish it had gone unspoken. Tell me how I'm supposed to act with you now, 'cause what seemed to me like a vow has been irretrievably broken. And you say it's nothing personal, but there's nothing more personal you can do than falling out of love with me before I'm falling out of love with you. 1 minute it's off, next minute it's on. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. Now we're just another falling out personal, but there's nothing more personal you can do than to say you're breaking up with me when I thought we were making up, telling me you're done with me when I just haven't had enough, falling out of love with me before falling out of love with you. 1 minute it's off, next minute it's on. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. 1 minute it's off, next minute it's on. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. 1 minute you're here, it's on. Next minute you're gone. How quickly things turn from right to wrong. Yes. Beep beep. So this is a song, a really new one. We've only played this one a couple of times also, and it's about pondering one's own mortality, seeing a lot of people that we've followed in the music industry pass away, like Neil Peart, drummer of Rush, and Tom Petty, and Prince, and on and on and on. Far too young, and also some personal experiences that have made it seem like time is slipping away. So this song is called This Is My Life. All of my heroes are fading away, and I've seen too many friends reach the end of their days. Lately time has been traveling a little too fast. I guess this is my life now, I hope that it lasts. My long ago places have all disappeared. The people I met there are no longer here. And my most beloved memories are fragile like glass. I guess this is my life now, I hope that it lasts.
It's Donna's happy hour, it's Donna's happy hour, it's Donna's happy hour, it's Donna's happy hour. Come on, get happy now, it's Donna's happy hour. Come on, get happy now, it's Donna's happy hour. Come on, get happy now, it's Donna's happy hour. It's Donna's happy hour, it's Donna's happy hour. It's Donna's happy hour, it's Donna's happy hour.